for potentially a 1-year rental for the Miami Dolphins as their defensive coordinator if everything goes right. We'll talk about that. Also, it's my birthday and I'll party if I want to. Instead, it's Dolphins After Dark. I want you to do me the favor, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. We got a whole bunch to talk about. So, as always, let's get into this.
Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jaylen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score! Field down the near side, man open, touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. He's got it over the touchdown. He's in.
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go! What is good, Fid Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We're back here for another one. I'm joined by EMdolphinfan, Mr. BallGame, and CB83, while Martin is somewhere fast asleep counting sheep. And Lewis is out here in the middle of a twister like he's starring in a blockbuster movie right now. So hopefully he'll find shelter and his power will come back on and Lewis will at least be able to join us. And if the sleep fairy leaves Martin's room, maybe he'll wake up. But until then, boys, I appreciate you guys joining me on my birthday. Want to have a little bit of an intimate conversation on my birthday. So we're going to talk about the Dolphins and we're going to talk about a lot more because I think it's time we finally take people after dark a little bit. Gentlemen,
thanks.
How you feeling here? And a shout out quickly, Lemony Crawdad with a $4.99 donation. Happy birthday, big dog. Don't think I'll be able to make it to the live show, but I hope you have a great day. Appreciate you. I did, sir. And Dubs MC says, happy birthday, bro. I'm about to record my first video on a new Fins channel. Want to ask for your advice. My first vid is exposing Barry. Wish me luck, brother. Well, it's getting views right now, so rock it, baby.
Boy, I tell you, in the light of the last 24 to 48 hours, considering what's been kind of going on in Dolphin land on Dolphins Twitter and on YouTube with this, what's the guy's name again? The guy that's trying to bring smoke to Doug the Do-Wrong. What's the other guy's name? I don't remember his name.
Barry the Raccoon.
Oh, okay. Barry the Rat, Barry Beta, whatever his name is, right? Definitely it's time for a Dolphin After Dark because there's a few things we want to address in regards to that situation. So let's get it, baby. Let's get it.
We all listen. I said it before on the show when I did the last show, and we're going to talk about Dolphin stuff here. We'll start off with Dolphin stuff, but listen, this content creator show, I see how the votes are already going. I'm going to tally them up next week. We're going to find out who's really about giving these fans what they want because people want to see it. And, I got a sneaking suspicion, not one, but a few people aren't going to show up because they don't want that smoke. So it is what it is, man. Like I said, and I'll say it before, we don't got to get personal up here. We can keep the facts in film. It don't got to get personal. We keep it fact-oriented. And like I said, there's no more debating journalists. Now you got to step in with the den of wolves, and the dudes have been doing this. And let's put it all out. And there's so much, and I said this even before this went down between Doug and Barry. There's so much discourse in this community. Just put it out on the table. It don't got to get personal. The discourse is off mainly player evaluations and I want to wonder what happened to all those people who ended up the season hating on Tua, but the first half of the season they're quiet on Tua and they're hating on Fangio and telling us Fangio's defense sucked. Then the second half of the season it was mum on Fangio and Tua sucks now. And so there's a lot of things. It's not just a Tua thing, right? I think a conversation to be had too. Why is everyone the quarterback this, the quarterback that, when Tyreek Hill's come up short in a lot of big games? Everyone knows, hey, I wanted McDaniel here since we were looking to hire an offensive coordinator. It was him or Pep Hamilton for me. And we hired Godsey Stoodsville, and the rest is not great history. So no one's a bigger supporter of Mike McDaniel than me, but there's a lot of things that he needs to iron out as a coach right now that have hurt us in big moments. I say, if you look at our that 3-game stretch, there's a lot of moments where it was, I call them the 3-headed monster, Tyreek, McDaniel, Tua. Collectively, they came up short. And I'll give Tyreek his prop. Hey, you had a big play against the Chiefs, and you look like you came to play against the Chiefs, but I go now to McDaniel. His game plan kind of neutralized that. I've talked about this before. You're throwing behind the line of scrimmage in 29-mile-per-hour gusts with a guy who doesn't drive the football, a guy who touches the football, who puts a touch on the football behind the line of scrimmage. And then later in the game, you're driving the ball outside the numbers, and he's making all the throws because that's what you should have been doing. And so, and then there's moments where Tua doesn't come up, where he comes up short. So it's a collective thing, and there's a big discussion that needs to be happening about this team. And I don't think it needs to just be about the quarterback when this content creator show happens, because if these people are voted on and they don't show up, we're going to do this show either way because there's going to be other people voted on. And I'm not going to sit up here, and I don't think any of these gentlemen, if they're up there, want to sit up here for an hour and a half and talk about just Tua, because this team is deeper than one player. There's 53 on the roster.
I would definitely agree, Reason. I can't wait if I just happen to be, fortunate enough to get voted on to this to this panel, right? Because I don't have the opportunity to address certain people, about the team in general, the quarterback position, the team in general, on panels, as frequently as I used to. So I think this whole show, right? The purpose behind this whole show is to, Reason, because listen real quick. Let's go back real quick. Reason, you and I, when we first started and created, the early stages of Inside NFL Ball Game, you was a part of that as well, right? We talked about what was the primary motivation for us to create an alternative platform.
Fan base.
Exactly. So I think there's been a lot of misinformation, a lot of, false narratives that individuals, a lot of them are agenda driven, right? Narratives, right? That people have been putting out over the years that have just been not true, right? But listen, that's their opinions, that's their position. However, the purpose of the show is to invite all of these people that might have a different opinion about the team, about the quarterback position, about Tua specifically, than EMdolphinfan, than Reason, and whoever, right? Well, there's an opportunity for you to pull up, right? Come to Inside the NFL. We'll have a moderator in place. It won't be like, it's the situation where Reason is controlling everything and kind of manipulating the whole show or whatnot. No, there will be a moderator in place to kind of navigate the show and try to keep things fair. And this is an opportunity for everybody. If you have a different opinion, this is your chance to pull up and really present your case about how you feel about the Dolphins, specifically Tua and the Dolphins in general. So I hope those individuals, everybody that whoever's fortunate enough to get voted onto this panel, to this show, I hope they have the cojones, right, to pull up and really, because there's been a lot, we all know who these cast of characters are. There's been a lot of noise, a lot of chatter over the years. This is the opportunity for everybody to come together and present, their opinions, their narratives, why you feel this way about this team, why you feel the way about this quarterback. So hopefully everything works out, bro.
Yeah.
Man, this sounds like a crazy show, man. You might have to do a part 2, part 3, man, the way this thing sounded, man. I mean, the Tua situation is what it is, guys. I mean, we have a quarterback. He's played well over the years, right? Does he deserve a contract? I think he deserves a contract. Does he deserve to be the highest paid quarterback? Now, that's a different question, right? That's a totally different conversation. The kid does deserve a contract. He's gotten better every year. I know people want to talk about Tua. He's a very polarizing figure in our fan base, but there's still a lot of other things. There's still 2 other phases, special teams and defense, that play really instrumental roles in us being successful. So I think you have to take that into consideration as well. And with Weaver coming in, hey, maybe the defense finds a way to get better. We bring in some more pieces and just make the team better, right? I mean, it's really about the team getting better moving forward. And people who are stuck on Tua and stuck on Tua being the best or being the worst, it's like, bro, let's just find a way to get better as a team, and dwelling on Tua isn't the answer, because we know Tua's going to put the work in the offseason. Like, we know that. We know he's going to go to work. We know he knows where his deficiencies were this year. Everybody's talking about him. He's going to find a way to get better in those areas. Like last year, his thing was staying healthy, right? He stayed healthy this year. Now, next year, you got to put in the work, whether it's getting off platform, whether it's pulling the ball down when need be and taking off. You got to figure it out. But I think he will find a way to come out and prove the doubters wrong again next year. I think he gets better every year, and that's all you can want from a QB in his 4th and 5th year. He's still young. He's still developing, man.
You're muted, brother.
There you go, BallGame.
The biggest thing for me at this point is just the division, man. I'm sick of the division, and the only way we move forward and collectively get better as an organization and as fans of the organization is by eliminating all of the foolishness. I mean, I think when people, it's hard for me to even fathom. Like, we went through 2 decades, man, two plus decades. So, like, mediocrity at the quarterback position, and we now have in front of us. Okay, he's not a physical god like Justin Herbert, but he has the intangibles. He has the skill set and things about him that make him so special that even the greatest quarterback in the history of this team talks about that you can't teach those things, and he has those things. I'm not a big quarterback guy. Y'all know that across the board. Like, it's still to me the most dependent position on any football field. I mean, on any football team. But at the same time, we have a guy who has, for 2 straight years, man, completely wild and blown away what was expected of him. And people are still out here scoffing at that. Like, it's not good enough when you just had 2.5 decades of nothing. Like, when did we get to the point? Well, this is entitlement, man. Like, he's not owed anything. We were blessed to have this kid. Like, legitimately, if he hadn't hurt himself and hadn't got injured like he was, then he wouldn't even been there for us to even have him in the first place. I consider him at this point God sent. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could definitely have a Justin Herbert and then still be stuck in the same space. And then people, what are they gonna say then? Oh, well, it's everything else but Herbert at this point. But Tua is still growing, right? Yeah, I legitimately say he only has 2 years in the NFL, in my opinion. The first 2, I don't even look at them 2 because he was still rehabbing, and at the same time he was still learning. And now, he had, not to mention, man, young quarterbacks. It's such a struggle for them in regards to learning all of this new terminology and all of this stuff being thrown at them, bro. When you got 3 different coordinators, like that. But that tells me too.
Go ahead.
Don't know ball.
And that's
people
what it
that
is.
The people that are out here that are scoffing at him and talking about him and saying things about him, they don't really know ball. They've never done it. They never had to actually sit down and digest it.
Well, let's do one better. Those people who talk about them and those talk about Justin Herbert and Tua, I'll do one better. Why aren't they asking for Herbert to get competition? He's achieved less at the pro level than Tua has, and it's the same people where they'll say, we can't win because of him, but we lose because of him. Yet we have over a 64% winning percentage with him, whether it's been Flores or whether it's been McDaniel. We have an over 63% winning percentage with him, whether he has Tyreek or he doesn't. All these people, they want to say, okay, we can't win because of him, yet they have no solution to actually replace the winning percentage he has. Because again, I've said this before, there's only 5 quarterbacks right now who have a higher winning percentage than Tua Tagovailoa. Or sorry, I should say there's only 5 yeah, there is only 5 that have the same winning percentage, have a higher winning percentage than him right now. And like, it's crazy. I mean, you look at Purdy, Mahomes, Lamar, Garoppolo, and Hurts are the only quarterbacks active in the NFL right now who have higher winning percentages than him. And we know Garoppolo was carried by the Shanahan offense and really the Patriots dynasty when he was starting there. We know Hurts. We saw what Hurts turned into this year. Now you got people in Philadelphia regretting even signing him after what he did last year. I mean, you know, and Purdy, it's a small sample size, but you got to respect it at where it's at right now. Mahomes is going to Mahomes, and Lamar, I mean, they've always just had a great franchise in Baltimore, but we know how they get when the playoffs hit. But again, you're talking about the 6th highest active winning percentage in the NFL. Plus, he just led the league in passing yards. And this is what frustrates me and always has me go back to these people must not have been around when Marino was around. I mean,
yeah.
He's doing something Marino wasn't doing since the mid-90s. You know, this is our first Pro Bowl at that position since the mid-90s.
It's crazy.
And it's so taken for granted. And anyone who's been a Dolphin fan in the trenches for the Cleo Lemons, I remember being excited when we got Trent Green and hoping the concussions hadn't taken
John Beck
career.
of the world.
John Beck.
Remember John Beck?
Oh, I remember convincing myself. Don't you remember how by the end of Rosen's career, he had the same win-loss percentage as a starter as John Beck did? Remember I used to pull those numbers up back in the day? Yeah. So, like, we've been through the mud with these. Man, listen, here's the thing. Anyone who's been through the mud with this team, we've seen a bad quarterback hold a great roster back. Jay Fiedler, thank you very much. I've seen a quarterback who holds back a stacked roster, and Tua Tagovailoa is not it. He's out here breaking Marino records. Come on, and we didn't find a third receiving option for him. Our second receiving option hadn't been healthy since the offseason. Then by the end of the year, we got into that real serious stretch. Our number 1 receiver, he couldn't get to his 2K because he was missing games. He was so banged up for the first time in his career as a pro.
Yeah, and that's context, man. I mean, anybody who knows ball knows that Tua is getting better, right? He's progressing as a player. McDaniel's still learning too. Like, this is his 2nd year as a head coach, man. And and that's the thing. People like are so quick to like judge guys, and it's like, oh, he's not making I jump on him for not making the right play calls at times. But I still got to understand, and I got to take into consideration, he's still a 2nd-year head coach. He's still working through a lot, right? He's still working through calling plays in the NFL. He's still working through getting his team prepared. There's still a lot there. So, I mean, we got to put it all into context. And I think, we do live in a microwave society. Everybody wants a Super Bowl right now, right? But that shit don't have it's 31 other teams that don't win a Super Bowl. I mean, let's be real about it. Like, that shit is really hard to do. And the Chiefs right now just got everybody's number. They know how to do it. They've done it consistently. And it comes easier to them because they've done it. Andy Reid's an experienced head coach. He's taken his lumps. He's been to multiple organizations. We got to give our guys a chance, man. We got to give them some time, too.
And they're about to reload. They're about to reload. You bet you they're about to.
Oh yeah, they're trying to run it back.
And that's fine. Hey, bring it on, goddammit. I'm not scared. Bring it on, baby. But at the end of the day, man, like I just don't understand why not all of our fan base, but there's a good portion of our fan base. You know what I mean? That they're just not. They're so impatient. It's like they ignore all of the progress that we've seen over the last 2 years. Just because we didn't achieve our goals this year, right? Last year and this year. It's a process to winning. You have to learn how to win. You hear Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest athlete in American sports, right? We've ever seen. He talked about winning, learning how to win. It's a process. Did he win in his first?
Look at him in the 80s with the
exactly. It took Jordan. It took him 7 years to. It took him 7 years to get his first championship, right? And again, I know it's a different sport, but again, I'll go to football. Okay. Peyton Manning talked about Peyton Manning said the same seat that Tua is in right now, not being able to quote unquote win the big games, not him not being the best version of himself against upper tier team. Peyton Manning has been in the same seat that Tua now sits in. And again,
was Drew Brees.
I'm frustrated. Exactly, 100%. So I am just as frustrated. However, I keep it in perspective, bro, right? Because I think I have, some knowledge of this game, you know what I mean? But so I keep it in perspective in terms of I know the developmental cycle that not only this quarterback, but this head coach are currently on, right? And you have to keep it in perspective. You can't just sit here because we didn't meet our expectations this year and ignore all the progress that we saw the last 2 years and just say, oh, hit the reset button. Let's start over again. It's absolutely crazy to me how many fans in our fan base harbor that type of mentality towards this team right now. It's crazy.
I add to that too? And we were just talking about the Chiefs. Boys, what did the Chiefs learn after that Bucs game? What's the one area they haven't compromised? And they didn't let Tyreek. That's why they let Tyreek walk, right? Because they were trying to spend They were trying to spend the big bucks on the off. Remember the guy?
We gotta solidify it.
Yeah. No, remember they brought in what's the tackle they brought in?
They brought in a couple big guys.
Who is that? Who is that now?
The Chiefs when they brought in that
from Baltimore.
The Baltimore kid.
Orlando Brown.
Brown. They were like, okay, we ain't joking around.
100%.
You know what I mean? And
100%.
This is where, like, even Mina Kimes said it, and I brought it up. Like, when they were talking about it, she's like, you've heard me talk about this before. The offensive line, like, I brought it up to you, EM, and I brought it up on this channel. What would you do right now? Would you go pay Christian Wilkins $24 million, or would you get Simpson and Zeitler, the two guards from Baltimore who had one of the top rushing attacks, solidify that interior and draft Jackson Powers Johnson or Zach Frazier and slop them right in the middle of them, and then you're off to the races because Tua, it's all about the interior with Tua. And I go back 100%. To this and I brought it up to Ellie Kapar, and I don't know how it didn't resonate with him, but the one game we scored 70 points.
110%.
Take the points off the board. How dominant in pass pro and run blocking were we in the trenches against Denver, 110%. Who went on to win 6 of their next 8 games, including in Kansas City.
And also in the smart move, if you're a GM, if I'm Chris Grier, right? Tua is going to get the extension. How much that extension is going to be, we have to wait and see. But I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. Tua is going to be here for the foreseeable future. So you're making the largest investment in terms of a contract that you've ever made in the history of your organization. Why not, in terms of your question about whether or not to pay Christian Wilkins or solidify the O-line? Bro, that's a no-brainer for me. You got to protect your investment, right? And we all know, you can say what you want about Tua, right? Him, again, there's another level. I want to be clear. There's another level that Tua has to get to. I think we're all well aware of that. But what he has proven is that more often than not, right, if you have competency in front of him in terms of the O-line, if you have stability up front, Tua can spin it with the top guys in the league. So I'm betting on, I'm going to solidify, me personally, if I'm Chris Grier, I'm moving to solidify that O-line because Tua, one thing he has shown in the last 2 years, now that he's more acclimated as he's ever been to the NFL, right? Everything that falls under that umbrella. Well, now you need to continue to support him in the areas that he needs support, so you can he can be the best version of himself moving forward.
I just want to quickly add to Ryan. Hold on a sec. He said they didn't have Eric Fisher, bro. They also, if you remember correctly, they didn't have Mike Remmers. They didn't have Andrew Wiley. They were missing like 4 of their starters. Yeah, 100%. And then this comment about that ball game was just talking about Waddle was hurt a lot this season in 2022. Hill and Waddle were 1A and 1B in 20. That's what I said this year. I think one of the reasons why, if you look at it, I think the trajectory of the offense shifted in 2023 because in 2022, you had 1A, 1B. Look at how we were using Ingold in 2022.
100%.
We were all excited. We got paid because we thought his role would continue and decrease as a pass batch. I mean, there's a point in the season ball game. Remember, I was saying, we got no one at tight end. Throw Ingold out there. He can block,
100%.
Wing in line, and he can get out and run routes. So what do you not agree with about that ball game?
No. I misread what he wrote, but if you go back and you look statistically at what where Waddle falls in right now, the dude's like number 3 right now behind Amon-Ra St. Brown and and Jamar Chase. And it
He's
ain't
10th
far
in
off.
yards
It
over
ain't
the.
far
he's
different
honestly,
in terms of the yardage and stuff. And he's missed. Yeah.
And
But-
honestly,
and-
I felt we
but those
felt
guys in
like he could
particular,
have. Go ahead.
Go ahead, BallGame.
And I'm talking about in terms of those guys. Those guys are clear cut number ones on their team, and he has.
Oh,
he
you
has
talking about the draft
arguably
class?
outperformed.
Yeah, it's draft class.
That draft class.
Yeah, it's draft class.
Okay.
Yeah, it's draft class.
Even having Hill on the squad, like Waddle's still right there in the pocket with them dudes, and he's missed. You know what I'm saying? He missed 2 games, and he's still right there. There's only like maybe 180, 190 yard difference between him, Chase, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. You know what I'm saying? And those guys are definitely number ones on their teams.
Yeah,
So
Waddle's still a 1B, I think, in my opinion. On probably 90% of the teams in the league, Waddle probably would be he definitely would be their number 1 target. But yeah, I'm with you. But go ahead. I'm sorry, CB, go ahead.
And I think he's a 1 target, but I think honestly, Waddle was kind of underused this year. Point blank period. I think we should have tried to get. I think we should have tried to showcase him a little bit more. And I thought.
Well, I think he was banged up by the end of it. Remember the Chiefs game when Tua hit him in the hands? He didn't even want to part with the ball. Like, remember he kind of like.
Yeah.
He saw. I think he was so banged up by the end of it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, and I think really probably for the better part of the year, I thought Waddle because you remember the conversation we had privately. We're like Waddle I posed that question to you. I said. From a film perspective, are you seeing a different player? You remember the conversation we had, and I think for the better part of the year, it was just one of them years where he probably had multiple, situations going on, and he fought through it. Credit to him, but again, when when you're not the best version of yourself physically, generally, the production takes a dip, and it did with Waddle this year, and it's unfortunate, but no, when Waddle is healthy, he's a clear-cut number 1 guy in the league. I think he's proven that.
Yeah. Why does that do it?
I brought this up once before, and I thought to myself, I won't hold it against McDaniels, but at the same time, everything that I did in terms of researching about what he was always attached to the run game aspects of most teams' offenses. So it's not really at that point now a surprise for me that later down in the season, when teams figured out the concepts that we were running early, that there wasn't much left in the bag that he could pull out to confuse people because, that's not his forte, which is why I was always hoping that he would actually lean on Frank Smith or one of those guys that know passing offense concepts and can put together stuff that's a little bit more intricate than what he was actually fielding because he was a run game coordinator pretty much everywhere he had been, Right. But then the opposite side of it, the passing game coordinator was the guy that CJ Stroud has over there in Houston. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you got to use the guys around you, though, man. Like, you can't be so I don't know what his issue is, but like, you can't pigeonhole yourself into this space of not taking these suggestions and incorporating this stuff because I saw multiple times.
Well, there was that. What was that game
3-4 guys in the same area? I'm like, what are we doing?
Oh, yeah. You saw that more this year, too, than you did the year before. But what was that one game? It was late in the season where Tyreek got banged up, and he was out on the drive, and Tua and Waddle just ate the whole drive and scored. It was late in the season. I'm trying to remember what game it was.
Oh, yeah.
Tyreek got banged up. He left. He missed basically the whole drive. And
Damn, what game was that? It's on the tip of my tongue, bro.
I'm looking right now. I'll tell you right now. Hold
on. But I know exactly what you're talking about. Reason.
Was it the Jets game where he went off for 142 yards?
Yeah,
maybe.
It might have been. It might have been.
Right?
It might have been. It might have been.
That one, I think.
It might have been.
Yeah, where he just ate them.
I really would like to see.
But even in that game, though, remember? Even in that. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
No, you good. Go ahead, BallGame. Go ahead. I'll go after you.
No,
even in that game, even when Tyreek went out, the motion stuff went away. That was my whole point. Remember, my whole selling point earlier in the season was why if Waddle and Tyreek were so, you know what I'm saying, they're to me are very similar in regards to how they can stress you vertically. Why not have them both learn in both roles so that both guys are so interchangeable that if you do lose one, nothing about your offense changes. When that game, there was a game specifically where Tyreek missed, where everything there was no Waddle motion. Everything was Waddle standing alone. Yeah,
He
you
missed
feel
the
me?
Jets game.
But even
Yeah.
then, though, you imagine how much more dynamic, how much more dynamic he could be if they had him doing the same type of motions Tyreek was doing and all that type of stuff. And I was like, why is there such a difference? Both of these guys are so explosive.
And I don't understand why
But
he did, because
I don't-
Waddle, we saw a lot of that in terms of motion specifically, right? All of that has been, since last 2 years has been primarily Tyreek, but we saw Waddle in that same role under Brian Flores, remember?
Yeah.
So
Right.
I don't know. And again, I think it's just McDaniel's just trying to get his feet underneath him as a real time in-game play caller. It's just it's a learning curve, and unfortunately, the timelines of the learning curve and the status of the roster, that's the most frustrating part, because if you got a roster from a talent perspective on paper, right, that we currently now have, I'm just talking about on paper, barring any injuries or anything like that, we can all agree the talent we got enough talent collectively, 1 through 53, to compete and perform and win at the highest level. It's just unfortunate your quarterback, and again, I want to reiterate, the quarterback and your head coach, right, and offensive coordinator, play caller on Sundays, the timelines are just they're a little off. They're not aligned. So this is just something we got to deal with 100%.
Man, and honestly, I mean, that's what kind of bothered me about Mike McDaniel. I just don't. I feel like there was a lack of creativity in the offense. I feel like it was kind of one dimensional, and I mean, I think it lacked creativity. I feel like at some points in the season, you saw the jet motions, you saw the reverses, like you saw the different looks. And when you have weapons like that are speed guys, you gotta show teams some different looks. And I felt like the motions are cool, but you also need to get the ball in their hands quick, fast, and in a hurry, even if you got to hand it off to them. Like, you got to find a way to get these guys the ball and let them get outside. And I don't know if Mike McDaniel was scared to give them the ball, hand it off to him, or what. But it's like, bro, just give them the ball so we can go. Like, give these guys the ball so they can run around and run around guys, like set the edge and get around them. And our offensive line at times was shuffling. I know it's tough, bro. It's like you're trying to figure it out, but you got to be more creative. Like, I felt like the lack of creativity is what killed this team down the stretch, because, hey, you may not be that team who can just pound it up inside, but you got to find other ways to beat teams. You got to be versatile. You got to use the entire field. So you got to find a way, man.
Well,
I just felt like he wasn't doing that.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, CB. Reason you and I talked about this recently, right, privately. I want to see less window dressing this year. When you play the best teams in the league, this is the NFL, right? When you play the top guys, the upper tier teams, they don't give, pardon my language, they don't give a fuck about window dressing. Can you line up and beat me one-on-one, right? Can Tyreek Hill consistently against the Kansas City Chiefs, L'Jarius Sneed, McDuffie, and their collection of secondary players? Can you line up and get off the line of scrimmage? Jaylen, Waddle, Tyreek Hill when we need it the most? Can you do that? Can we line up physically? I'm not talking about outrunning, right, teams and this. And again, I'm a fan of. We talked about this as well. I want to see more diversity in the run game. Stop being too wide zone dependent, right? You got to have adjustments. You got to be able to adjust in real time. You got to have curveballs to throw at teams when they're anticipating a fastball. You have to. So incorporating more gap concepts in the run game, right? Because at the end of the day, when all that cute window dressing, the motions, right, and the wide zone, and you saw how Buffalo adjusted when we played Buffalo. They kept trying to beat them to the perimeter and win with that wide zone running format, right? What did Buffalo do? They adjusted in real time and forced them to run up, between an A and B gap, and we could not do that. At some point in time, you got to be able to put your hands on somebody and beat them one-on-one. This is what I want to see more this year.
Well, the word is that they are trying to go to more gap concepts and find more of a balance this season, and we're going to talk about that in a second, because that's a good segue into a topic. You know what I mean? I think, for one thing, you noticed that run game. I said it before, 2 weeks after he went down, you noticed that push in the run game started to buckle when we lost Isaiah Wynn. Mostert didn't have
110%.
Mostert didn't have 100. Mostert didn't have a 100-yard game after Isaiah Wynn went down.
Yeah.
Running the football. Okay. So that's number one. You saw HN was now relying more on his vision and his ability to get skinny, to get through seams more so than the lanes just being opened wide for him to burst through. That was also noticeable by the end of the season. Listen, it just comes down to Trent. We need more maulers. Like, we need more guys. Like, one of the things that we liked about Austin Jackson when you watched the tape this year was you started to see more of that nasty streak coming out of him. Robert Hunt's always had it. Connor Williams has it a little bit. Isaiah Wynn had it. Armstead's just a freaking technician and just so good when he's healthy that he don't have to be. I mean, he can be nasty, but he don't have to be, right? So I think this comes down to continuing to, you kind of got to build this mouth culture. And this is why people keep talking about Derrick Henry. And I think now this offseason, a fork in the road people might come to that no one's really discussing. I brought it up yesterday is Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert has no guaranteed money left on his deal right now. If you cut him, it costs you about $650,000 because all of his guaranteed money was at signing. So you got a guy who can only get up to just over $3 million, even if he hits all of his ceilings. Is he going to allow you to put the wear and tear on his body again after he just scored 21 plus touchdowns for you when he set the franchise record for touchdowns? I don't know if I see it. And what's crazy is if you cut him and Wilson, that accounts for over $6 million in space you've opened up. The conversation has been Derrick Henry. Now, I've also said this to my Patreons. I think even if you get Derrick Henry, Devin Achane needs to be running back one, and it more needs to be a thunder and lightning thing. I don't see Derrick Henry as a 3-year stopgap. And what's frustrating is, it's frustrating and it's worrisome at the same time is, do you even make that investment based on what we've seen from McDaniel and his lack of willingness to commit to the run game inside the red zone, specifically when we get inside the 10? How many times this year did we get inside the 10 or 15 and we're dropping back 3 or 4 straight times and we're either settling for a field goal or turning the ball over on downs? And yet we got there starting from our own 25 by either
the ball
or whoever the case got us there. We saw it late in the season. We saw it early in the season. We saw it in year one. And I mean, I know a couple of us looked at each other and were like, thank God they didn't make the investment of Jonathan Taylor, because we'd be pulling out our hair even further, because you'd be paying that man like $15 million a season to take the ball out of his hands in crucial moments. So instead, we're sticking with fades that regularly don't work. You know what I mean? Like, so what are your thoughts on this? Because Raheem Mostert, I just don't see him playing on a cheap deal after and again, he was hurt last year too. So,
and I think that's what bothers me most about the team is that it's just a team of finesse, and this team, and when
but in fairness, he bulked up.
When Connor Williams went out, and this offense, when you're predicating your offense on a zone scheme offense, your center's got to be able to move and get to that next level. And when Connor Williams went out, Eichenberg just doesn't have the ability to do it. He can't move like that. Connor Williams is one of the best run blockers in the league at center. So when you lose him, shit, you're losing damn near all of your offense when it came to the trenches, because you can't get up to the middle linebacker. You can't work the double team, get to Mike. You can't work the double team and get to the outside backer because you just don't have a guy who could do it. Now, the team needs to be more power, counter, trap. You gotta be able to do it. Yeah, and this is the thing about this offense. Like, you can't be so one-dimensional that you're running inside zone and outside zone 90% of the time. Bro, you got to run some power. You got to run some trap, and you got to get downhill on guys. Hey, gap down backer. That's the motto right there. Get downhill, create the wall front side, bring some guys around there, wrap a guard, and give them some blockers and let them go, man. You got to get up inside. If you're not getting up inside on 3rd and short, 4th and short, you're never going to win games. You're never gonna win games.
But like, and I think we all saw that through the season. But then they go ahead and waste a roster spot by reactivating Chris Brooks, and they don't even use him for that.
Don't use him.
Yeah,
when we have moments to use him for that.
Yeah.
Why'd you even activate him? I heard Isaiah Wynn was walking around la-di-da all during the playoffs. You might as well have activated him and thrown him out there. At least he would have given us something.
Yeah.
Did you ever get clarity on what exactly his injury was reason?
No.
The Isaiah Wynn injury didn't even look that bad initially, which is crazy to me, man. Dude never saw the field again.
Well, I reported with you remember within a week or two of him going down, I was telling everyone I heard he's not coming back, and they're optimistic if he does come back, it'll be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find out what the deal was. They were real mum on what the injury was, which tells me they're going to probably try and bring him back on the cheap.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to ask you. Are you hearing anything?
That's why they didn't disclose it. I know I haven't heard anything, bro. Dog, listen, I've said this before. It was so much easier to get information out during the Flores era than it is during the Mike McDaniel. It's because people respect Mike McDaniel more and play it way more closer to the chest. But I think tags open this week. I think tags are this week. So here we go. They're like,
ooh-wee. Who getting tagged?
Ooh-wee.
It's going to be down if Wilkins will play on it.
Chris Jones.
I don't think Chris Jones is leaving. Yeah, he said he's not.
No,
leaving,
he said he's not leaving. He said he'd be a fool to leave what they got going on.
I'd transition tag Wilkins, bro. We need the draft pick. I'd transition tag him.
Yeah, I would.
I would too. 17 million or 16 million as opposed to like 20.
I don't see why not tag him.
They're going to. I don't think they're going to let him walk for free.
I'm gonna jump out there, dog. I had a real issue with paying him damn near double what Zach Seiler making, man. I'm sorry.
I'm with you, BallGame. I'm with you.
But y'all don't. But see, y'all don't realize that Zach Seiler deal is a fucking discount. Y'all don't. That's what y'all don't realize.
No,
we know it is. But
like, come on, bro.
I actually be arguing for Zach to get more money because of the fact if you look at the motherfucking numbers, the numbers don't lie. If you look at the numbers and you stack them right up next to each other, them dudes are damn near identical. So it would be hard
last 2 years.
I'm telling you, it'd be hard pressed, man. Even though I love Christian energy and all this other stuff, but that motherfucker that's right next to him that bring his pail to work every day and eat them double teams just like he eat them and still had half a sack less than him and had actually more tackles for loss than him. Come on, bro. When you talking about paying him damn near double?
Yeah.
Like, I
think
that's just bad business all across the board.
And how is Tyler supposed to feel about that?
The year we were screaming.
Exactly. That's my point.
2 offseasons ago, when I was screaming re-up this guy, the market was only 14 to 15 million.
Right.
Now, literally went up 8 to 10 million in one offseason. And I'm sorry, this is where I get. Unless you're Aaron Donald, I'm sorry. I cannot pay you number one wide receiver money. I'm sorry. I can't.
No.
Yeah.
I just can't.
And that's the problem with the Dolphins.
Or Chris Jones.
They should have did this shit a long time ago. They should have did it a long time ago, right? They should have just re-upped him when the market was down and when his numbers weren't as good as they are right now.
And that's why I'm saying right now, Chris Grier, as I look through the windows to your soul, get out ahead of either Jaylen Waddle or Jalen Phillips this offseason.
Or both.
Because your biggest flaw is you let the market dictate what these guys cost you because you sit on your hands. And here's the problem you're going to run is with Waddle. Jamar Chase has got to be re-upped. Amon-Ra St. Brown's got to be re-upped, and Justin Jefferson's got to be re-upped.
Better do it before they get paid.
Jaylen Waddle has the 10th most receiving yards over the last 2 years, and he was banged up this year, and he's number 2 behind only George Pickens. He averages 16.1 yards per reception. Lock him up because guess what? We all know Tyreek ain't seen 56
You got to pay Holland too.
So you better have this Holland as well. Because Tyreek Hill ain't seeing 56 million, and that's not this year, but that's next year. So you better have the heir apparent to the throne under contract in case that thing doesn't go the way you want it to with getting out of that 56 million and reworking his money if he's not willing to play ball. You better have your option so you could move off from Tyreek if you were forced to save that money. Just saying.
Man, it's going to be interesting to see. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what their strategy is.
Is why you cannot pay Christian Wilkins. You cannot pay Christian Wilkins because you got to take care of your young core. Well, not only that, BallGame. Christian Wilkins is about to be 30. If he signs this year, he will be turning, 30 in
2 years.
In December, he'll be 29 this December, and then he'll be 29 this December and 30 next December. So you're telling me a year and a half into your new shiny contract, you can be 30 years old, and you're going to allocate that money instead of Jaylen Waddle, Jalen Phillips, Javon Hall, all players under 26 who are the core of this team. This team's future. That's bad business. You can't. Yeah. You got to make sure they're taken care of.
I think he's gone. I just can't.
Seems pretty confident he's gone, right?
Yeah. We talked about that. I mean, Big O, and again, I know, listen, no matter what your feeling is about Big O, Big O has dropped some nuggets over the years. He's been right about some things, right? Not everything like he thinks, but some things, right? And I've been listening and watching Big O long enough to know when sometimes he trolls a little bit, but then other times when he's very intentional on things that he's hearing, right? And I think, again, I'm paraphrasing, but I think he doubled down, quadrupled down that he didn't think Christian Wilkins was going to be. He's gone. He's priced himself completely, off this team. So. But I didn't think once Zach Seiler signed that team-friendly deal and Christian Wilkins, and once the reports came out about how the Dolphins and Christian Wilkins couldn't find common ground in terms of the negotiations, right? I said then, as soon as Zach Seiler signed that team-friendly deal, I said, no, Christian Wilkins is gone unless he takes the same approach that Seiler took, and obviously that's not the case. So I think Christian Wilkins has played his last down in Miami.
This is from what I understand. They think they have a fair deal on the table, and they're not coming up from it. That's basically what I've heard. And I've heard that they've even discussed 1-year terms with him. Okay, you don't want to play on the franchise tag? All right, what about a 1-year holdover deal, bridge deal if we can't work something out? And from what I've heard, the number they are set on, they aren't coming up, and they think it's fair to market value, and he's locked in on his number, 24 plus. And they're not coming up.
I'm going to holler at you.
Jump the deuces, bro. I mean, we'll go to the draft.
There's options in the first 2 rounds too.
And again, I don't want people to think like I don't want. Bro, I'm a big fan of Christian Wilkins, but at the end of the day, this is the business side of the NFL, and it's not personal.
We got way too many
financially. If we can't make it happen, if it doesn't make sense, I'm sorry, bro. We just gotta.
Well, I ask you this. Let me go back to the original that started this.
If he was turning 26, it'd be different. He'll be
right.
And well, like you said, also, okay, you guys talk about Sealer. What if Sealer all of a sudden plays this year out and says, okay, now I want more money? Okay, and let me ask you this. If you could get Kevin Zeitler and John Simpson and re-up one more player for the price of Christian Wilkins, like what would you do?
Bro, you gotta do that, bro. Because the Dolphins we have some holes for real. Like we still need some players. Like we need linebacker, we need defensive line help. We still could use another corner, maybe another safety. Deshaun Elliott. Hopefully, you bring Deshaun Elliott back. Holland will be here. Brandon Jones ain't gonna be here.
There's familiarity too with him and Weaver, right?
Yeah, Jerome Baker. Gone. Like, come on, bro. Like, we still gotta bring some guys in. I think the offensive line.
I think if you whiff on Deshaun and you're looking at, I think the sneaky good one, if he isn't looking to break the bank, I think Geno Stone in this, and you bring Geno. He had like 7 picks, 6 or 7 picks this year with Kyle Hamilton. While Kyle Hamilton would roll up, right? He would say, I'm just saying that could be. Because I'm telling you, they're going to use Javon Hall like a chess piece.
Is X a goner?
I think so.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm done with Xavier Howard, bro.
Unless he's willing to take a big.
I don't even want to bring him back on the team. I don't give a damn about no discount.
Buddy,
I'm sick of Xavier Howard. Cut him June 1st. Designate him June 1st and give me that goddamn $13 million, $15 million, however much it is. I'm sick of Xavier Howard, bro.
Killer Cam.
I'm tired of Xavier Howard.
All right, y'all gonna see Killer Cam this year. That's what you're gonna see.
Hey, y'all say X out of here, huh? That boy gone.
I'm tired of Xavier Howard.
Ball game, you hear ball game?
I ain't mad at that, man. I'm over it, bro. Like at the end of the day, I think he had a good run, man. It's unfortunate that if they do get to the next level, man, and achieve greatness without him, we can always thank him for his contributions, bro.
Oh yeah, we thank him.
It's just, bro.
Hoopty, bro.
No, Xavier, bro. Clearly, his best days are behind him. There's unless you brought him back like on the cheap, like
cheap.
I mean, cheap. There's no because you got to
He's
think about.
not going to be willing to do that either. His pride
And he's
is
not,
too
and that's
much.
fine. Well, go ahead.
You got to get him out of here because Cat's throwing at him now. They're not even scared to throw at him anymore.
And he's impeding the progress of your young developmental guys that's behind him.
But how quickly we re-upped him? Don't he owe us a little bit?
Bro, he should be willing to take it.
Hadn't even dried, and we did something no one had done to a top defender before in the league, no matter what their position was, and we gave you brand new money. You owe us, bro. You should be able to this guy because he already talked about it, right? They asked him. He said, what he said. What would you do if your boss asked you to take a pay cut? Well, bro, you went up to your boss after 1 year and said, "I want a raise," and my shit ain't even dry.
No. I'm done with Xavier Howard, bro. I don't want to even. Unless you bring him back on the cheap. I don't want to entertain a possibility of Xavier Howard out. He's done his best years behind him. I don't see any upside of trying to continue to move forward with him. I don't see the upside.
Me and you talked about Cam's traits and what they would work in, and we were like, if we had Flores or Boyer, Cam would already be out there this year.
100%.
Knowing what Anthony Weavers does out there,
110%.
Very confident Cam Smith.
Exactly.
And here's a little whisper. I know he ain't going to come here, but little birdie's whispering that Marlon Humphrey's going to be out in Baltimore this offseason.
Interesting.
We're gonna be the Baltimore Dolphins.
Whatever works.
Go back to Brinks truck.
Whatever works.
Goddammit. Fucking
Matabuke. We got Matabuke.
Hey, whatever gets us to our desired destination.
You can keep all the players. I will back up $250 million on Ozzie Newsome's front lawn and tell him to come here and be the president of football operations and watch his team win a Super Bowl in 4 years.
Yeah.
Watch. Ozzie Newsome would fix everything.
I don't give a damn. They called us the Miami Patriots for a while there on the Flores, right?
Said the Baltimore
that didn't bother too many people. I don't give a damn. Whatever gets us to our desired destination, I'm all for it, bro.
Shout out to Robert Carrillo, a $12.92 donation through PayPal. It says happy birthday, brother. And shout out to Fake Spike 94 with the $50 donation through PayPal.
Ooh.
Happy birthday, Reason from Fake Spike 94 and the family. That's one of my day ones.
That's right the homie right there. Salute, always respect to you, homie. Salute to you.
How do I feel about JC Jackson? He ain't been the same since Waddle and Tyreek been taking his ankles for 2 years, bro. That's all I gotta say.
Nah, I'm good on that.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah. Hey, man, move forward. Hey, listen.
Did his best work inside of a scheme. He was a scheme fit for Belichick, and then when he went out there and got exposed with the Chargers, that was pretty much a wrap. That's a guy that really and truthfully you can't trust him outside of the scheme that he had his best success in because you haven't seen it since. So now I'm good on him.
No, it's time to move forward, bro. You invested a second-round pick in a player, put him on the field. Let's see what he has, bro. It's time. Just move on.
Did you guys see that Cedrick Wilson's contract clause was triggered on Friday, February 16th, and it voided the rest of his deal, and he's now an unrestricted free agent per over the cap?
Wow.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So
hasta la vista.
He out of there.
I think that's a sneaky pick in the draft. If there's a guy on the board in those first 2 rounds they like, now I don't know if my boy Brock. There's talk that Brock Bowers is going to fall out of the top 10 now.
Because the medical's hung.
Let's go, baby. But I don't think
Xavier Worthy. Go get Xavier Worthy
at 15.
Go get Xavier Worthy. Go get Xavier Worthy.
I like Bowers, man. I
saw a report that Cincinnati was targeting him. I saw a report that Cincinnati was targeting him.
They're at 15.
Yeah,
15, I believe.
They're gonna be all over him.
So move up 14, baby.
Would you be willing to jump up? That's what I was just going to ask.
There's 3 players in this draft I would jump up for. Yeah. Brock Bowers, Joe Alt, and Olu Fashanu. If those 3, and if Talis Fuaga's sitting there like a couple picks ahead of us, the tackle from Oregon State, I'd move up for those 4 guys, basically.
I don't know about moving up in this year's draft, considering the lack of draft capital that we have. We got a lot of holes. We got, positions and holes that we have to fill. I don't know if this might be from that perspective. This might be the best.
If a blue chip prospect.
I get it. But
Bowers,
I just think
Bowers a dog, man. And I think honestly, we're missing that guy underneath that can win in the middle.
I would agree 100%.
Win quick off the line of scrimmage, in line, bro. We need that.
I think Fabian Sanders, if he's in there in the second round, I think that guy's a kind of a freak for his size. gives us a red zone threat. There's some good tight ends. Ben Sinote from Kansas State is my third guy. There's some good tight ends in this draft, but I think it goes Brock Bowers tier 1,
Everybody else.
Tavion Sanders in tier 2, and then everyone else with Ben Sinote at the top of everyone else. Basically, that's how I think it goes.
Yeah,
Randy's up here. Yeah, I got him at 5. I think he's if I remember correctly, he's my tight end 5.
I know. Yeah, Bell.
Yeah.
So
but like you said,
Mike's got to be willing
this is
to
the
throw
next
the ball out to
evolution.
the motherfuckers, though.
that's true too.
Yeah. And they got to be willing to block. And these guys got to be able to block, bro. Like that's it. So
man, I don't know, man.
McDaniel better get Engel involved, man.
I'm trying. Again, if this is just me, I'm trying to solidify that interior anyway by the draft and free agency combination of both.
Hey, if all the blue chippers are off the board and Brock Bowers is the last blue chipper on the board, I'm moving up. And here's the thing, Bowers, those tackles, and even Jackson Powers-Johnson could be gone by 21. So you might see if the board is like that, where Troy Fotenu and Jackson Powers-Johnson are gone, and your top 3 or 4 tackles are gone. Then then that's when I would look at moving back, right? Like then that's when you can, like I know what's his face, Neil had a great suggestion. Maybe you try and trade with the Bears at the top of the second round so they can move up. If they draft Caleb Williams, try and get him a receiving threat at 21. You move back to the top, to the top of the second round. Plus you add another third and maybe an end of the second round pick 2 as well, because now you're moving out of because here's the thing, and I've always said this. Once you start, no team in the NFL ever has 32 first round grades. Does not exist. You are in the range of 18 to 23 first round grades in a draft. So once you start getting like 24, 25, you're talking about glorified second round picks. Yeah. That's what you start getting into. Like, so moving back from 25 to 33 isn't that big of a deal for me. You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
My time. You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
Because we do need more no matter what, we need more day 2 picks. Like we pick in the first and the second, and then we have to pick to the 5th.
We need more bodies.
We need bodies. Yeah, we need bodies.
Yeah.
Justin asked, would Noah Fant be a good? I think there's a couple guys. I think you could look at Hunter Henry would make sense. I think no one's talking about him, but he'd make sense. Gerald Everett. Yeah, Gerald Everett would make sense too. I think Gerald Everett could do things for us in this offense. There's some tight end options up there. I mean, do you throw a 1-year deal at Dalton Schultz? Dalton Schultz is still producing. Look what he did for CJ Stroud this year.
True.
Right? 1-year stopgap.
Was he only on a 1-year contract with them?
Yeah, he's a free agent right now. But they're probably going to try and re-up him. Yeah, but he's free agent.
Noah Fant is intriguing. I'm with you, ball game. That athleticism.
Yeah. That's a big boy.
That's tight.
Yeah.
That's tight.
He's a more receiving threat than blocker, but
he's willing to block. He's willing to block.
Yeah.
He looked like he was going to break out in Denver a few years ago.
Yeah. But his athleticism, bro, him, at that position in this offense is definitely.
Well, what about Hunter Henry?
Yeah,
he's the much cheaper than
he's the more dual threat guy
in the Chargers, and
I would agree.
Sneaky cheap, but high.
I agree with that.
His play in New England basically drove down his price, and it wasn't even his fault, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
bad quarterback play.
I would agree. And again, he's definitely more of a dual threat guy in terms of blocking and receiving threat. So.
Well, you remember they paid him coming out of San Diego.
He'd be welcomed as well,
right? Like remember. He got paid, right?
Yeah. He was like one of the top guys at his position coming out in free agency that year, which is why he got paid the way he did.
Just go get Knox from Buffalo.
Ooh,
Dawson Knox. Okay.
Yeah, because they're moving off
Kincaid Knox from Buffalo,
Kincaid, probably, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you got some options at tight end free agency.
Again.
I didn't realize.
Yeah, but this is how key it is, boys. I try to tell these people they don't want to listen, and because I've been bringing up to Omar, and again, I was out ahead on this tight end thing. Like, go look at the Rams have Higbee. The Packers just drafted Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave in one draft. We got George Kittle in San Fran. You go through every Shanahan disciple. We're the only one without an actual legitimate option at it. That's why. Remember last offseason, I was saying, make a sneaky move for Tyler Higbee. And then they re-upped them. But we're the only one of the Shanahan tree that
Bro.
doesn't have that option.
Mike McDaniel be so stubborn, dog.
Quarterback's best friend.
Bruh, he
Damn,
be wanting
quarterback's
to
best friend is the tight end.
He be wanting to do shit his
Especially
way.
in this offense.
Yeah.
It's just like, bro, sometimes you got to get out of your own way and stop overthinking it, bro. Just get you some guys that are going to be on the field making plays for your guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, Julian Hill, late round. No, that ain't it, bro. Smythe is a good player, but he ain't it at the position, bro.
We don't even know though, bro, because the motherfucker was running. We don't even know though because he was running so wide open on some plays that they never even looked for him.
He was
running wide open.
But he running wide open. But you get him the ball, he a possession guy. He just gonna catch it and fall down or get tackled.
Oh, call it what you want. That's still a play made. That's still a play made.
All I care about is a first down for my tight end.
Exactly. That's still a play being made.
And I'm cool.
Everybody can't be Kyle Pitts running a 4-4.
Everybody
you know what
can't
I mean?
be that, right?
Yeah,
right.
Darren Waller didn't run a 4-4, but he offered you something after the catch.
Yeah,
go get you somebody. He was a converted wide receiver. Everybody can't be a playmaker.
He had wide receiver speed, wide receiver skills.
Okay, Tony Gonzalez didn't run a 4-4, and he offered you something after the catch. How's that one for you?
Yeah, that's fair.
He was a big boy.
He
was a big boy.
My problem with Julian Hill.
My problem with Julian Hill. Never mind running a 4.40. He takes 4.4 to get going for his 40. That's my issue.
Bro. That's Smythe.
You heard what Omar said. He said, you heard what Omar said. Reason Omar said they absolutely love Julian Hill, and that is Mike McDaniel's boy. So
yeah, he better find some new boys. That's what he better do.
Absolutely love Chris Brooks.
Some acceleration point. He needs some acceleration point.
Better find somebody who catch the ball and turn on some jets for real, bro.
You better give him those shoes they had in the Sandlot. So run a little bro. Those flyers, bro. This guy is just, bro. Come on, Smythe is a 2, and this guy's at best a 3, like borderline 3-4.
Right,
he's borderline practice squad right now. Like, and they've missed Tanner Connor. Remember they?
Oh my gosh,
they
missed Hunter Long.
Oh my god! But remember when they gave a roster spot to Tanner Connor and like, oh, we really believe in them. They really love him. How'd that work out?
Got a pick.
Tanner Connor, I swear, he must have some compromising photos of Mike McDaniel or something. I mean, that man has been flat out stealing from this team. They have made him active on the roster, right? And I mean, I can't even remember snaps he's even been in a goddamn game in the regular season, bro.
Like McDaniel be having too many friends he be having too many friends on the roster, bro. Like, nah, bro. Bro, everybody can't be your friend, dog. We need football players.
Come on, man.
I bet you why. I know why Tanner Connor's on the team. He probably has the best story about adversity being an opportunity. Tell him that story, Tanner. Tell him the story.
Shit.
Yeah, I better get some dudes. Hey, man.
Man, Andrews gonna retire because likely them took his job. You think?
Likely look good, boy. They got 2 good tight ends out there.
Maybe.
Boy.
No, I don't think Andrews gonna retire though. No,
Andrews still a dog.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you guys this: do you guys think Weaver is going to be a 1-year rental if this works out?
Nah, I think he's here for a little while, man. Go ahead, Ian. Go ahead.
I think 2 years. I give him 2, depending on how well the team goes.
This guy was interviewing for head coaching jobs, and he wasn't even a successful coordinator yet. If we have you're telling me if he fields a top 10 team after the interview process he just went through, you don't think he's going to get snatched up?
I don't know. I think this will be a good stepping stone. I think this will be a good learning opportunity for him. So I think when you sit down and you have the discussions about, hey, where do I want to be in a couple years or in a few years, you got to think about, hey, I need to learn a little bit more before I take on this head coaching position, right? I know he learned under guys like Harbaugh, and Baltimore has a great organization, but he may be thinking, hey, let me get this coordinating thing down first, because he hasn't been a coordinator in a while. So maybe he needs to get this down first, notch himself in as a legit defensive coordinator, and then he takes that step and goes and becomes a head coach.
And I agree with that 100%, CB. I think now again, he was interviewing head coaching, interviews or whatnot, but you got to take into account as well. There's a quota to be met in terms of, I'm just keeping it real. So was he really a legitimate candidate, or he was just there to meet that quota? So we need to keep that in mind. However, I think it's a 2-year window for him, depending on how well the team does. If he comes out, again, we have a lot of, if we kind of, expand upon the success we had last year, this year, that will greatly enhance his chances of being a serious candidate. However, that second year, if you double that up and Field put together a top, you have a lot of success defensively, well, then I think that's when, it'll be his time to really be seriously considered and ultimately hired at that point. But I'll give it a 2-year window. Give it a 2-year window.
What do you think, BallGame?
I'm gonna give him. I said 3, man. You got the first year is the fill out year. The second year will be the solidification year. But he has an offense that he can lean on. He's really gonna be losing a lot of the key pieces on defense. So you really ain't gonna really hope. You're gonna hold him. You're gonna hold him accountable, but you're really not, because he don't know. You don't know what he's gonna feel. So, and in the third season, I think is the one where he's gonna make his name for himself and then be ready to move to the next phase. So I said 3. But I could be wrong. I don't think so, though, because at the end of the day, right, I know how hard it is basically coming as a new guy and get familiar with these guys. You know what I'm saying? The difference with Vic was Vic said, fuck it, I'm going to do it my way. I don't give a shit how y'all feel. My way or the highway type of deal. He's not going to be able to do that. Like, at the end of the day, these guys ain't going to go through another regime of that. So it's going to be a fill-out process, and he doesn't even know who he's going to have yet, right? Like I said, we got so many damn holes to fill that, you know what I'm saying? The first year, I think there will be a shift. It will be more offensive dominant. You know what I'm saying? The defense will have to play catch up, as opposed to like this year, the defense carried us in some games, right? They really did step up late in the season when the offense was sputtering. So there'll be this weird dichotomy between the two. But I think 2 years for him officially be his second and third year, and then after the third one, after we win the bowl, he gone. So
now, does that put, considering the uncertainty we have on that side of the football, the person that's calling plays right now, hey, listen, I'm a fan of Weaver from what I've seen to this point, but again, he's an unproven commodity, right? So there is a level of uncertainty there, right? We don't know what we're getting. B, we've got this we're not going to have a lot of guys back healthy at the start of the season, right? We're going to have, there's uncertainty on one side, at one boundary corner position, right? We don't know what they're going to do with the linebacker position. So Christian Wilkins as well. So both edges. So there's uncertainty going into the offseason on that side of the football. Now, the question is, does that put additional, pressure on McDaniel to have this offense, not only McDaniel, but Tua as well, to have this offense, at peak level, right at the start of the season, due to that, because we got to overcompensate for that lack of, again, that uncertainty we have on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, there's no what I shout about one. This thing's all about support. Who's the healthiest and who's more intact to be able to continue carrying on the mission. With a new guy going in as the head coach over there on the opposite side of the ball on defense, the offense has been together longer now at this point. I mean, you're going to have some new integral pieces. You're going to have some guys that we don't even know who the two edges are. So, yeah, it's got to be the O-line, right? And it's got to be the offense that's going to carry us over the first half of the season. They should be ready for it at this point. Like, Mike's got to rely on
3 years
that he has.
100%. Now, if they're in a situation where they have to be really relying upon Tyreek Hill, well, this is a time when I would be on board with that. You know what I mean? Somewhat, a little more so than I have been in the first 2 years. So You got to do what you got to do. So yeah, man, it's going to be some, this season, the first part of the season, we've got some challenges ahead of us, gentlemen. I mean, I know a lot, not many people are talking about that, but there are legitimate challenges that's facing Mike McDaniel, Tua, the team in general, the defensive side of the football. But McDaniel, again, this is what a head coach, has to do. That, this is part of it, right? McDaniel's going to have to right this ship somehow, right? And he's going to have to have his team ready to go. If not, we're going to be. It's a good possibility we'll be sitting here with not meeting expectations yet again. So
look at the stress. Even these new positional coaches are coming in. Joe Barry's got to get Channing Tindall right? Right? He's got to get something out of Channing Tindall. Plus, we don't know what's happening with Baker. They might have to rebuild around David Long. Then, right, Crow, our new outside linebacker coach, right? Look what he's got to do. He's got to deal. He's got to deal without Phillips. He's got to deal with possibly without AVG gone. He's got to deal. Cameron Good's even hurt, let alone obviously Chubb's hurt too. And you know, so that's why another thing too. Here you go. Here's a name for you. A ball game. If a guy like Jared Verse is sitting on the board at 21, do you pull the plug for an edge player at 21? Because here's another thing no one wants to talk about, boys. We got to pay Jaelan Phillips. We could be moving off of Chubb after next year because and now you're getting, and what you're doing, if a good edge falls to you, you're getting out ahead of that move. You're giving that guy reps early on in the year. Then when Chubb moves on, what happens? Phillips takes Chubb's money, and the good edge on the rookie contract switches to another guy. So now you're teetering the contract. And I think, there's options here. I always go back. Listen, I know he didn't work out because he ended up being banged up. But you remember how high I was on this kid EM. I always go back to how it looked like the Chiefs were trying to get out ahead of Fisher when they drafted Lucas Niang. Right. Good GMs and good organizations get that guy in the building. So when that contract is up, you say, listen, it's a hard deal. I don't want to lose you. But, we already got this guy. We invested a draft pick in. So what happens? If we had someone coming up behind Christian Wilkins, boys, if we had let's say, Jalen Carter, would any of you be complaining? Not at all. Would anybody be complaining?
Not at all. We'd be saying
not at all. Now they can sell us. Not at all. We've got the asset. We've spent the assets. We've got them in the waiting. We're all okay with it. The problem is we're looking at this roster, and you got who's our two guys? Zach Sealer and Brandon Pilley are the only guys under contract right now. That's the hard sell to the fan base. If you had someone there to sell, like a Mazzie Smith that Dallas took, or so, because remember, in Dallas, they asked Mazzie Smith to lose 30 pounds and try to become someone he wasn't built to be coming out of Michigan. We would have used him properly here. So anyways, I digress. So we don't have someone like that waiting in the wings that we can sell on the fan base. That, we got the money tied up in Siler, but then we got this young guy. No one's buying the Pilly right now. We ain't eating that Pilly, right? We ain't eating that pill, no matter whether it's red or blue. You know what I'm saying? So...
And you're right. I mean, I like Jared Verse. He's a Seminole. He's one of my guys. He's a dog.
I'm just using him as an example. He's a good 21 that's in there, right?
And he's a dog. And I think, the organization should be planning for the future, right? We need to get to the point where we start signing guys early and where we start drafting guys that are going to replace other guys. And I look at Cam Smith. Cam Smith should be replacing X. He should be. That should be the play this offseason.
Fangio stunted it.
And if we are not, if we go and we're trying to figure out X plan next year for us, then we hustling backwards, right?
But CB83, don't you feel under Grier's tenure, that's the one thing where it feels like it's a lot of right now solutions? We don't have a lot of really set up for the future solutions, and that comes down to one of my big pet peeves. He never gets out front of contracts. He lets the market dictate, and we end up overpaying for our own homegrown guys, right?
You know what though?
Yeah, and that's what happened to Wilkins. That's what's crazy is Wilkins is his first real draft pick, right? You would have thought that, hey, he would have got ahead of this a couple years ago and just be like, hey, let's extend this guy. Let's give him 10, 12, 13 million dollars at that time. Now, Christian Wilkins he didn't have the best stats in the world. He wasn't the sack numbers were not there, right? But you saw that he was progressively getting better every year.
Okay, so CB83, this comes back. This comes back to the conversation I've had with you. This comes back to the conversation I've had with you so many times, and now I'm going to put it publicly. Boys, this comes back to the joke I was making earlier about making, what's his face, the president of football operations, Ozzie Smith, not Ozzie Newsome, right? The problem is we don't have good football minds around Ross that are sitting there. We got Tom Garfinkel, who's not a football mind.
He's a business
sitting there
guy.
saying, "Yo, we gotta get out ahead of that." There's guys that would tell you got to get out ahead of that. And listen, we love Reggie McKenzie. We love Marvin Allen. But how muted are their voices if we know they have good track records, if they're not even getting through to Grier and these guys, you got to get out ahead of that. It feels like Brandon Shore and Chris Grier, they traded draft picks for the future, but contracts and trades have always been for right now, never the future. If that makes any sense to what I'm saying.
You know what though? I'm gonna be real quick, CB. I'm gonna be a little fair with Chris Grier. It's not that he hasn't attempted to implement that strategy. He's done it, right? He did it with Noah Igbenogany taking over, with Xavier Howard. He attempted again to address that position with
But we
Cam
all know
Smith.
that felt like a Flores pick too, not
right. But
the story goes we originally handed that card in at 26, and it was actually DeAndre Swift. That card existed. Okay.
Right.
So,
but he's attempted to do that. He's just been unsuccessful. Channing Tindall, right? He's supposed to take over for Jerome Baker at some point. How's that worked out? So he's attempted to do that, but it's just he's been unsuccessful. So
but where the attempts been on the offensive line?
I would agree.
Eichenberg was supposed to be a starter. He's just been relegated to what he is right now to play, right? But he's supposed to be a starter.
I mean, I think he gave up on O-line and just said, "Hey, I'm gonna go free agency."
No, but no, what he does?
He's missed so much.
He drafts Ryan Hayes in the fucking 6th or 7th round, like he's gonna crack this lineup with depth.
Come on,
right
man,
now.
stop. Yeah. Like you can't. And that's the problem.
In the 3rd and the 4th round, and developing them, or Go ahead,
any old lineman being taken. Me
after the
personally,
5th?
I never drafted. After the 4th round. I'm not drafting no old lineman after the 4th round. Bro. I'm not fucking with him. I'm sorry.
You might as well get an undrafted free agent at that point. If he can crack.
Listen, like I call late in the 20s. Yeah, that's what late in the 20s is a glorified 2nd round pick. 6th and 7th are glorified UDFA.
I agree.
Right,
I agree.
Yeah, man.
Man, there's so many questions, bro. Man, this is Chris Grier's. Oh man, I don't envy his job this offseason, bro. He's got so many decisions to make about this team. And again, his ass is on the line too. It's just not potentially Mike McDaniel or Tua. Bro, they're all really, we talk about McDaniel and Tua joined at the hip. No, all 3 of them are joined at the hip.
Man,
is that pressure is on. You hear me?
We better hope that these guys really like playing for Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins. That's what we better hope. I'm telling you that right now. Because if these guys are not willing to take a little bit less to play for us, then they're going to be gone, man. They're going to be out of here, and we're going to be looking at new guys.
Well, I've seen the work done. Neil did it. Someone did it. Without touching Taron Armstead's contract, you can get to it, but you can clear up, be about $76 million under the cap. So we can create a bunch of space. You create $76 million, but you got to get a bunch of players. Now you want to dedicate a third of that to Christian Wilkins?
I know. And you gotta pay your job class.
Bro. Like
that math ain't math, and I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not.
No.
And I don't understand why Christian wouldn't. And I'm sure he understands, but I get
he's bet on himself and he won, bro.
Yeah,
they dared him to bet on himself.
I can't knock Christian for wanting to get his bag. Listen, listen, get your money.
He earned the right. He earned the right.
Buddy, I've been told.
Yeah, he did.
I quote: "He will not take a dime less than Quinnen Williams."
Oh no, he got to go. I still love his stuff.
He's not a better player than Quinnen Williams. Like, you're not as dominant as him, bro.
Stats say otherwise.
But that's this year. Quinnen Williams has done it consistently, though, bro.
They say, "What have you done for me lately?" That's the hard. That's the problem.
I think they're close. I think the gap.
He's not Quinnen Williams. He's not.
I think the gap between the two players, they're close.
They're around 20 million. He's around 24, 25. That's where you're at right now.
I think I think Christian Wilkins
and I don't think they're coming to the middle at 22 or
19, 20 million guy.
That's what they believe him to be an 18 to 20 million. They believe him to be an 18 to 20 million dollar player.
19, 20 million dollar guy. He's not anything.
I agree with that.
And he's just as good as those guys.
I agree. Zach Seiler, Zach Seiler should be the first to kiss the Lombardi, bro, if it goes down then. That's great. Because listen, we need more guys like him. Like, we need more guys willing to be like, I will give you production that will sometimes outweigh my pay, even though you pay me pretty well.
Right.
That's what you need, man. You need a bunch of guys like that. And listen, that's why, again, I go back to Waddle. Get out of heaven now. It will cost you about 20 to 24 million.
Mm-hmm.
But, buddy, before Jamar and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Justin Jefferson go ching, it's gonna just go because you know those guys are coming for Tyreek's $30 million annual average.
Oh, you know
Jefferson.
Jamar Chase is
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson has first said he will not
Justin
sign
Jefferson.
until he finds out who the quarterback
He
is.
getting he getting the highest. He getting the highest.
Oh
pay.
yeah.
Yeah. He should.
Yeah. Jamar Chase ain't even better than Waddle. Just give Waddle number 1 targets and let's play because he was out producing Jamar Chase when he was a 1B to Tyreek in that first year, and Jamar was still getting more targets. So I'm just saying, bro, Waddle, and I'll even go this: Tyreek Hill's drops hurt more than Waddle's.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Tyreek dropped a
Skylar
touchdown.
Thompson one
For sure.
pretty much inconsequential. Well, Tyreek Hill, every big consequential game he decides to drop one that matters.
For sure.
So.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a very, very interesting offseason, to say the least. So,
how can they get the 76 million again? What would have to happen?
Oh,
To
buddy,
restructure everybody, cut everybody.
You gotta extend Tyreek. You gotta basically almost extend everyone that's available that impacts.
Okay.
And you gotta restructure everyone that's available, and you gotta cut a bunch of you would have to shave the roster.
You should cutting X, you cutting Jerome, you
Yeah.
cutting pretty much everybody.
Yeah. What's his face? Put it on here. I'll tell you right now. I'll bring it up.
Well, man, I know Wilkins is gone. What happens with Ogbah's contract? You just cut him?
He's gone.
Ogba's gone.
Too much money.
Ogba's gone, bro. He out of there. He might be the first one.
What's the dead cap?
He
What's
might
the
be
dead
first
cap?
one.
On him. Because I know that was like a really horrible contract that he's in.
Boy, man,
We
we
just
better
cut
be.
him after-
Hey, we better be.
Cut him after June 1st or something like that.
We better get healthy. I know that, boy.
Yeah, that's the number one priority. They got to get healthy, bro. But what's the possibility of Jaylen Phillips starting the season? You think?
I think it's gonna be tough. I think it's gonna be very close for both him and Chubb.
Those Achilles are way different than what Jaylen ran. Obviously the knee is a lot different than that damn Achilles, man. That Achilles is something different.
Yeah, and you don't want him overcompensating.
If Jaylen Phillips plays before week 8, I'll be hella surprised. With you.
Shit.
And I'm not.
Hey,
I don't plan to see
Chubb.
I'm just saying. I don't plan to see Chubb before week 12. Why you bullshit?
Damn.
I guarantee you what, if that is the case, Chubb and Phillips aren't back, until week 8, 9, 10. We gonna I can comfortably say we're gonna be the top blitzing defense in the league, I'm sure. We thought we blitzed under Flores.
It's gonna be listen. It's gonna be. I've talked about this. I think he's gonna do what Mike McDonald did. So I'll read some numbers to you guys. So check this out. So I'm gonna give you guys the first. Let's talk about the first 4 weeks of the season. Okay. So against the Texans, they ran predominantly cover 6. They ran it about 23.6% of the time. Against the Bengals in week 2, they ran predominantly cover 1, 22.8% of the time. Against the Colts in week 3, they ran cover 1, 39.3% of the time. And then against the Browns in week 4, they ran predominantly cover 3 and cover 4. They ran them about 33.8% of the time each. But then check it. Look at their blitz rates, like how they jumped up. It's crazy. So when you look at it, okay, so if you look at Joe Burrow, when they played Joe Burrow in week 2, right, they blitzed him 11.6% of the time, right? Next week's against the Colts, they blitzed him about 51% of the time. And then when they played the Browns, they went down to about a 14% blitz rate. So they're going to be it's going to be so.
You talking about this is Baltimore
this year.
Okay,
yeah, under Mike McDonald. This is basically, this is kind of what he's talking about with the when he's talking about how they're gonna be. He basically said he's gonna run Mike McDaniel's version. Mike McDonald's version. That's what he basically said when he talked about how he learned. Because I think this is what happened. Him, Zach Orr, and Denard Wilson The guy, Zach Gore's been promoted to defensive coordinator there. Denard Wilson got a defensive coordinator somewhere else. I think they basically all learned what didn't work under Wink and what did work. And then their system was about perfecting that. And I think like the Shanahan offense, this might be a new wave that we might be seeing where you're going to see this that's why he talked about Ramsey being a chess piece. And this is one of the biggest letdowns for Fangio for me. Now, everyone knows I defended Fangio tooth and nail over the first 8 weeks. When people were crapping on him, I'm saying, no, give him till week 8. And after week 6, we were top 10, top 5 defense. Anyways, I digress. One of the great things about Ramsey, I thought, was like how Staley used him in his iteration of Fangio's defense role. Yeah. And I even talked about it to this extent where when Ramsey was talking about early in the offseason, and he was saying, I think we got other guys on the roster that can do this. One I named automatically was Javon Holland, because everyone knows what did I love about him at Oregon? You would see him on the boundary, in the slot,
100%,
up on the line in the box, single high, whatever, right? That's why I like Rowan McKinley, because Rowan McKinley would go too high with him over there, right?
Right.
So anyways, and then you look at, I think, now we haven't seen him play, but if you look at the traits, the skill set, I think Cam Smith can develop into that type of guy too. When you look at the athleticism, when you look at his ability to play the ball, when you look at his instincts, because
he's aggressive. He's aggressive in open field too.
Yes, and he's aggressive against the run. EM.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
You know what I mean? Like people don't talk about that game and that part of his game enough from South Carolina, because a lot of those people were overreacting. Why did we take a cornerback where you had people like us on this channel? I was flipping out when we made that pick because I'm like, this guy was a round 1 talent on my Neil's big boards, right?
Right.
So you look at him, and did this guy plays? This was what was so frustrating. You had casuals. Oh, he must be crap because Fangio doesn't like him. We go in to find out that it was literally there was something there, and Fangio was basically telling people, no matter what, he's not playing. Like that was basically the message. And that was one of the rifts, because you had guys like Ramsey and X going to McDaniel and saying, we're telling him he's ready to play. We've seen him. He's being a sponge. He's asking. He's ready for reps. And we can identify that 2-game stretch with the Panthers in it was the perfect time to play him and get those reps. And Fangio just didn't want to go there. Players were literally telling him, don't go out with Eli Apple. Give this kid a shot. He's not going to. They were saying what we up here are saying. You're not. How much worse can it get? Can he really give you worse right now?
Yeah.
And one thing you can say about Cam. Well, one thing we heard about Cam, right? When you actually watch and we're following along with training camp and stuff, one of the things was, you remember he got burnt in that one
Jacksonville game.
But then you got to let them grow from that, man. Talk to BallGame will tell you, though, like this guy raised 2 cornerbacks in his house. He ran cornerbacks for defenses. You got to let these kids grow from that. Like,
let them play.
We even eventually let Noah Igbenogany grow more in the fucking first year than we let Cam Smith. And Cam Smith was way more of a talented and instinctual ball player when you watch the film.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's what hurt me the most, is that, I mean, we didn't have the way we had players go down. We couldn't afford to draft guys we were going to redshirt. Like, we just couldn't afford to do that. Like, this wasn't the team to do that. We needed guys who could play right away and contribute. And for him to bury Cam Smith like that just didn't make sense to me, bro. It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out whether or not. Hopefully, again, we'll find out exactly who Cam Smith is here shortly, here in about 3-4 months. So hopefully,
very quickly.
Again, if he can come in and really be, assume that role, that starter role opposite Jalen Ramsey, man, that'll go a long way to helping this team, bro.
And keep Taylor in the slot. Stop. He's not ready to cover these top guys on the boundary yet. I was saying it all season when he was getting cooked by. He's not ready on the boundary for Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
And you're moving this kid all around and stunting his growth. Let him. He's meant for the slot. This is why it looks like Needham's out in Miami, because you're giving this kid his job. Stop doing him the disservice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, man. We shall see, gentlemen. It's going to be, like I said, man, it's going to be a crazy offseason. Entertaining, to say the least. But, man, it's like I said, bro, it's a lot of question marks. When you really sit back and you look at the situation that we're currently in, salary cap-wise, personnel decision-wise, there are, man, so many decisions to make. Chris Grier has his work cut out for him, man. Because, man, it's crazy. So I think we'll be fine in the long run.
Money number
on Tua?
What you thinking? 195, 192, 195? Somewhere in there.
I'd give him 5 years, 250, 180 guaranteed.
Yeah, I'm with that.
That's right there, 50 million.
I'm with that.
But I'm giving 218 or 219 like Herbert or Burrow, because I don't even think Herbert's worth 218, because if these Dolphin fans who were calling for Herbert these last couple of years want to play it fair, the Chargers should be worried about getting competition for Herbert more than us.
Man, the only motherfucker that deserve that type of money is Burrow. He the only one that beat Pat. So
he been hurt.
Yeah, I agree.
But he been hurt, so it's
now he's
hard
more
to give
injury
him
prone
that.
than Tua technically.
Yeah, way more
games.
Yeah,
way more.
But look at what they got coming up. They got him. His contract's going to kick in. Then they got to pay Jamar. Like, they got money that's going to start coming up too.
Are they going to lose? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, T. Gone. Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah,
that team's gonna. We're gonna listen. What these people don't realize is like, oh, Tua needs all the supporting cast around him. Did people not watch that Bengals team have built around Joe Burrow? Like,
no, right?
Higgins, Boyd, Chase, Mixon. That defense was top 10 that year.
100%. Seventh overall that year.
Getting blown up because he can't make hot reads yet. And the defense, while he's riding the defense, like, people don't realize the one time Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl, check the facts. Defense was top 10.
Yeah. And what you got to realize is about these AFC teams, we're very close to being better than all of these teams. Like, let's be real about it. Like, the only team we can really say, man, that's a damn good football team, is the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, we've went toe-to-toe with Cincinnati. We've went toe-to-toe with a lot of these teams, right? If we are healthy, we will have a shot at beating anybody, but we got to be healthy, and we got to get more physical up front. If we could do those two things this offseason, I think we can find ourselves in a good position next year where we're making a run at it. But you got to do it. I mean, if you don't do it, then you're looking at yourself in the mirror like, damn, it's going to be the same thing all over again.
Mm-hmm.
I just hate losing to Baltimore, man, because at the end of the day, bro, that's probably the motherfucking most elementary goddamn offense I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, but bro, all it is they got
in ball game, Lamar still can't. Lamar still can't throw for 4,000 yards.
That goddamn deep dig.
Bro,
he still can't throw for 4,000 yards.
How you MVP?
He lit us up, bro.
Oh, thank you. Please expand upon that, because people been trying to come. They've been trying.
How you the MVP?
If you want my
how you the MVP of the league?
I think Josh Allen had a better case.
Thank you, BallGame. Thank you, all them haters. And I hope y'all in the chat right now.
Because he run for 1,000.
Josh Allen had over 42 touchdowns, and look at they ended up winning the division by the end of the season. Look at what they had, where they were midway. Josh Allen has a better case than Lamar Jackson had for.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
I think Christian McCaffrey.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, I agree, Christian McCaffrey.
Man,
you got 3 wide receivers. They all go out on routes, all generally going to flood concepts, and then you got these 2 motherfuckers that record and likely they blocking 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, then releasing out into some area. Yeah. Max protecting for this motherfucker, and then they releasing when everybody else got their back turned, and that's how you getting all the goddamn yardage. All Lamar's running because you can't really play man against.
Why don't we do that shit?
That's some bullshit, bro. That's the most elementary shit on the planet. And the motherfucker wasn't even remotely close to 4,000 yards. And you talking about MVP? Like, come on, man. You mean to tell make that shit make sense.
And then he take off too.
And BallGame, I was in a debate in a Twitter space the other day for about 2 hours with some idiots, right?
Lamar. You can't talk about Lamar.
Oh my God.
You think he still can't throw the deep dig, and he still can't throw the deep out.
You would think I was. Bro, you would have think I would have said something about somebody's mama in that damn Twitter space. How these fools, how they was acting a fool when I said, bro, he ain't thrown for 4,000 yards not one time, not one.
He is.
I mean, that's not concerning.
Bruh.
He's not an athletic
Dude,
quarterback.
well, look at
the Ravens
He's an
do a
athlete
good
playing
job.
quarterback.
guys. Look
Glorified running back is
look
what
at
he
how far
is.
the Eagles went last year, and look at where Hurts was as a passer. Those are guys carried by the scheme and by the team built around them. If you want to talk about
doubt.
And let's talk about this dual threat one, because everyone's like, we need, in this day and age, we need a dual threat. How many of these motherfuckers win Super Bowls? And don't give me Mahomes is a dual threat, because Mahomes is the best pure passer we've ever seen in the goddamn football.
First and foremost.
Mahomes will kill you in the pocket, and Mahomes ain't running for 400, 100 yards a game. Mahomes will take the yards when you give it to him, but he's killing you in the pocket. That's
First and foremost.
He is a pocket passer first.
Anybody out here talk?
He's the evolution of Marino. It went Marino, Rodgers was the evolution of Marino, and Mahomes is the evolution of Rodgers. That's exactly what they are. Pure passers who can extend plays, but they're not Michael Vick or Lamar Jackson, mobile quarterbacks that are going to
because that doesn't win championships.
Yards.
That don't win championships.
Because when the playoffs happen and the defense gets, bro, when the playoffs happen. And now they are getting aggressive, and they're taking away all that little fancy stuff where you can get out and run around. And we're talking about those disciplined defenses who don't fall for the bell and whistles.
Backyard football.
They stay true to their keys. They stay true to the scheme, and they stay disciplined within it. And 100%. What happens? All of a sudden, and they spy your ass. And what happens? They wait for you to make a mistake, and they pounce all over it. And we've seen it. No, we put the blueprint out of how to beat this kid because we built off of what Belichick did. Remember, we used to do this under Flores. We used to shut this guy. I remember prime time. When you get aggressive with this guy, he doesn't know what the hell's going on. So, listen, this whole you need dual threats, no, because when the playoffs start, you have to beat teams from the pocket. That's 100%. How you win.
100%.
You got to beat teams from the pocket. You got to run
the football.
Hey,
they run the football and beat them from the pocket.
They went crazy in that damn Twitter space when, like, they went absolutely bananas. Oh, EM is a hater. Eat him. Bro, you know what? Somebody even said, I'm not even a fan of a black quarterback.
Well, no, I don't.
They called you a racist.
Hey, you believe that? They said, I am not a fan of black quarterback.
No, this is what doesn't make any sense with this argument. This is what doesn't make any sense. Y'all just finished watching a 20-year dynasty from the most purest pocket passer you can talk about, the most least mobile pocket quarterback, cerebral quarterback, who's just, you know what wins? What do I say all the time? The three keys, what do I say? Accuracy, efficiency, and high football IQ.
100%.
If you are elite in those three traits, you can create a dynasty around that.
As long as you got a defense plan and that, you good.
But to get to the Super Bowl, but the Super Bowl team's constructed. If you get to that level, you more than likely you're going to have, the other aspects of your team where they need to be. The defense is probably top defense, probably top running game.
Let's break it down though, right? Let's break it down though. Let's think about what made the Patriots so dominant. They had a daunting defense. They had hella excellent tight end play. They had a cerebral fucking quarterback, and they had role players, the guys that just did their fucking jobs. Now think about the Kansas City Chiefs now. They got a hell of a defense. They got an amazing Hall of Fame tight end. They got a cerebral as fuck quarterback. And they got arguably one of the greatest fucking football minds over there still doing it now that Belichick fucking finally
on both sides. On both sides,
on both sides. Spagnuolo, because
Spagnuolo don't get a lot of credit. But he's a Hall of Fame coordinator.
He's next up. When Andy Reid leaves, he's taking that job more on market. That's how they're going to keep Mahomes happy.
And reason we talked about this the other day
Reid will become an advisor. That's what we'll market.
To piggyback off football game, the point he just made was just spot on, right? Reason I had that conversation privately.
But I'll understand. Look at the last four teams that were left. Look at their offensive lines.
Oh, absolutely. But specifically the Chiefs, real quick, right? You look at the parallels. Ball game we just talked about that the other day. Reason when you look back, and evaluate those Patriot teams, the rosters, the coaching staff, etc. Man, there's so many parallels to that. And again, I hope they don't turn out to be
But where
as
Belichick
dynastic
never
as the
cheapened?
Patriots. But there's a lot of parallels between the two
Well,
teams.
Where did he never cheapen? Look at how much he paid Dante Scarnecchia.
110%.
Look at how much he paid his offensive line coach.
110%.
Was getting paid as much as coordinators in the NFL, and they never,
110%.
whether it was draft picks or money, they never cheapened
Never
on
compromised.
the O-line.
Never.
They would
That's why I said
compromise
Butch Beck.
corner, which was key to their defense, but they would never touch the O-line.
100%.
That's why I said pay Butch whatever he wants. God damn it.
And that's what Andrew Reid learned against the Bucks.
Pay that man
That's
whatever
what
he wants.
Oh, and I'll throw you another one. Sean Payton was another one that constructed his team, built his team around his quarterback in a similar fashion, right? Never compromised on that O-line.
Tua is one of the
skill
quarterbacks
set
that needs one of the best. You need to give him it's not about the tackles for Tua. You need to solidify the interior for Tua.
Absolutely.
Because he needs to be able to see.
We got one hell of a right tackle now, though.
And you
he needs to feel comfortable. You can tell to his
Exactly.
game. You can tell to his game. I've watched him from Alabama long enough, and I've watched every snap. All 20, like I've watched so much Tua. I can tell when he doesn't trust receivers. I can tell when he doesn't trust protection. You can tell by his demeanor and his play. And there's a lot of games this year where I would point out the ball game, Richmond and Martin, when we broke down the film, where it looked like I was seeing things that I saw when Flores was around with him not trusting offensive line. I think he's got. I know this sounds crazy. I think with Eichenberg, he's got some like kind of PTSD. Like you don't trust him to snap the ball. You don't trust him to protect him. I don't think he's comfortable with him at all. At all.
I mean, you were shuffling the line all year, so I mean,
yeah, but he's had him for a couple of years.
The only consistent piece was Austin Jackson. He trusts that motherfucker though.
Yeah,
you hang in there with Austin,
and he trusts Robert. He trusts Hunt.
Yeah, he trusts Hunt.
Yeah, our full line when we played against the Broncos, look at how good he was. Yeah. Look at how he trusts Armstead. He trusts the boys. It's when the boys go out, he's like, he's worried if you're even going to get him the ball, let alone if you're going to block for him.
That Connor Williams injury hurt the shit out of us, bro. It did.
Yeah, that was big. That and Isaiah Wynn.
Huge, bro.
We could have done with Kendall Lamb if we would have left tackle
without
all year.
Yeah.
If we had Isaiah Wynn and Connor. If we had those three interior guys, we could have had musical chairs at tackle, and we would have been fine.
Exactly, but we couldn't afford the interior guys to go down. We just couldn't afford.
Yeah, and we need a running back who's going to be. Listen, I know Achane was learning his body because he'd never been banged up or dinged or hurt before, but we need a running back that. We need someone that's going to be there, bro.
Florida State was full of dogs, baby. Just go get. Hey, man.
Bring the whole Florida State team, man. Come on, man.
Hell yeah,
Keon Coleman, all the boys.
The boy ready, man. They ready.
You know who's a guy who I'd try to trade a late draft pick for if they take him because they drafted Bijan? I would love to pair Tyler Algier because I like them coming out. If you could pair Tyler Algier with Devin Achane, I think you'd have a pretty good 1-2 punch. Use him inside the red zone. I wonder if they'd field calls on Kyle Pitts right now. I guess they got to figure out what they do at quarterback. The word on the street is I guess Calvin Ridley's gonna. Who did they say Calvin Ridley's gonna be a free agent? They said.
Yeah, they would have to pay. They would have to pay Atlanta a second-round pick if they sign him.
Yeah, but he's got big money. You can't. We need. And I know people are suggesting Gabe Davis in the chat. I've heard Gabe Davis wants legit money. So, listen, Duncan Idaho says, is there any interest in Penix? I don't think so, bro. I don't think Penix is going to be there in the second round. I think you're going to, because of next year's draft class is so weak at quarterback. We're talking what did I compare it to, Yem? I compared it to the Tyrod Taylor draft class.
Yeah.
It's not
EJ Manuels of the world.
Yeah, I think you're going to have now
EJ Manuels.
Drake May's my QB1, but I think you're going to have Drake May, Caleb Williams, Penix. I'm hearing JJ McCarthy's going to go in the top 6. He's been shooting up boards.
Is in this draft?
No. Quinn Ewers? No, I don't think he is he? No. Spencer Rattler is, though, isn't he?
If it's a crazy run on Q, I want it to be a crazy run.
Oh, Nix is going to go in the first round. I think Penix will go in the first round. So,
yeah.
And listen, for all of you that are worried about injuries and everything like that, first of all, if you've actually watched Penix, what I love about him is his work ethic. If you look at him when he started off with the Indiana Hoosiers, he wasn't a great passer. He's a much better passer now. That's great for me because that shows how much he's been working at his craft and how seriously he takes it. But he gets hurt. He's been hurt some serious times here. And another thing too, right? One of the things is his numbers dip when he's under pressure in the pocket too. Yeah, he is older too. Yeah. His numbers dip when he gets pressure in the pocket. I think Drake May is special. I think Caleb has traits to be special. I just don't like his attitude. I've also heard Caleb Williams is lazy. So I've heard that. So
you can't have laziness in a quarterback, bro.
25?
I don't care how talented he is.
Yeah, I think he's 25. Yeah.
Him and two are the same age. That's crazy.
And then
I heard what Joel Platt said about that, about how he thinks the Dolphins should take him at 21, man.
So we got too many holes to draft.
No. I don't.
If we just won the Super Bowl and you don't have a depth at quarterback and you're picking at 32, knock yourself out. Draft someone. I don't care. You just won the Super Bowl. I don't give a shit. Go draft someone. But no, you're not drafting Penix, bro.
I'd trade back in the first.
Yeah, if a guy you don't like there, I would.
Yeah.
Listen, I would take offensive line. The only other non-offensive line guy I'd take is Brock Bowers. But other than that, I would take offensive line all day. I think Troy Fautanu, who can play left guard and play left tackle. It makes sense. What? Say again?
Lackey, he's going back, right? He's going back.
Yeah, Luke Lachey. Yeah, he's going back. His tight end partner from Iowa State, Eric All, is in this draft too. So, but I mean, there's options. Like if Troy Fautanu or Jackson Powers Johnson, Troy Fautanu could play left guard with Taron Armstead this year, and then you could try him out at left tackle, which is what he played in college. Or Jackson Powers Johnson solidifies that center. I think neither one of those are bad picks. Joe Alt, Talisa
Robert Hunt that we signed, right?
You out, bro?
Yeah.
So you just resign Robert Hunt?
I would resign Robert Hunt.
Yeah.
That's the priority, dude, in my opinion.
Next to Laramie Tunsil, that's your best hit on the offensive line. How can you let that walk? Now,
that's
I've heard there's teams lining up willing to pay over $12 million a year for him.
This might be an opportunity where I'm comfortable with a slight overpayment with Robert Hunt. You know what I mean?
Like Grier was smart and getting out in front with that Austin Jackson contract.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
But if you pay Robert Hunt $12 million a year, that's like $15 million in other places.
Yeah. I'm all for that, bro. So,
get it done, man.
Robert Hunt is the priority. It's not Christian Wilkins.
I'd take two Robert Hunts over Christian Wilkins.
Any day.
Robert Hunts over Christian Wilkins.
Any day.
I'm sorry.
Any day. Hey, appreciate you boys having me. Man.
Appreciate you, man. Salute, bro. Salute,
fellas. Salute, ball game. EM. I'm gonna holler at y'all boys, man.
All right, man.
All right,
yeah, be good, bro. Build a wall.
Remember the OG3, huh?
I know, man. This is definitely bringing back the old days. The begin, in the early days of Fensai. Remember, it was just the three of us.
I don't think people respected it, man. I don't think people realized that we originally came into this process just to try to inform and make the community better. Right? And over the
100%.
years, man, we've dropped so much knowledge out here that people have now turned against what we were trying to create in terms of a space of positivity. And they went rogue, man, and made it personal. When all people were saying was, just watch film, just learn the game, be educated.
100%.
Right? That's all we ever said, right? And I mean, I don't think it was ever anything when we started. With no egos. I think I'm still one of the most approachable people on the planet. But you can't just feed me some bullshit and tell me that it's you know what I'm saying, that it's something other than that. No, because you can open your mouth in 20 minutes and 20 seconds of the conversation. Oh yeah, I know you don't know ball. Okay, I'm gonna sit here and listen to you. I'm gonna be respectful, but at the same time, when I come at you with the facts, accept them for what they are and stop fighting me again. You know what I mean? And stop taking everything personal. But
yeah, man, it is that was
you better man than you reason.
That was our motivation, bro. hey, you right though, ball game. That was our primary motivation. I mean, we talked about it privately before the first thumbnail was created, right? Because we just felt like our message, not only our message, but we just wanted to offer an alternative to what was dominating the YouTube streets at that point in time. And again, not to single anyone out. Hey, man, everybody is in their own lane. Everybody moves how they move. But, and I'm not trying to throw shade at this point in time. We just felt like, you know, we wanted to offer an alternative to what what was dominating the YouTube streets at that time. And we just felt like there was a lot of, the fan base was being misinformed in a lot of ways, right? There was a lot of agendas being pushed at, being the motivation as opposed of the information about the details of football, right? Was being pushed to the forefront as opposed to, and we just wanted to offer an alternative to fans, people that really wanted to learn. And again, not to sit up here between the three of us, we know everything. Nobody is all knowing. It's only God is only all knowing, right?
But the fucking knowledge,
Well, that was one thing, right? Like, well, that was the thing. We wanted to be able to, like,
you're right. Come on now. You're right. I'm trying to be humble here.
We wanted our subscriber base and our fan base.
I'm trying to be humble here.
We wanted basically to start passing off the formula. So our people were so educated that they could go and have conversations with their friends or their family, wherever they were, and they could basically look like the smartest man in the room a couple months later because they heard what we said or they've been listening to what we said. They start doing their own research, see what we see. They start seeing what these coordinators and these coaches are looking for in the draft and free agency, what the fits are offensively, defensively, special teams. I mean, like everything is just Tua. But look at the draft. I talk about this all the time. Look at my draft track record. I mean, like, let's start. I mean, I was right until Austin Jackson, until we got McDaniel. But when we got McDaniel, I told everyone you would see what you're seeing right now. Because of what the scheme said, because of what his traits were. You look at Javon Holland, how out ahead of it was I in that. Devon A-Chan. I remember going into Larry L's chats and defending Jaylen Phillips. People were saying they wouldn't take him with the pick we ended up taking Javon Holland with. And I said, you're crazy. If he's there for the second pick, he's a top 10 pick. He's better than Chase Young. People are, I can't believe this. La, 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 la. There's so many players, whether it's been free agency or the draft, and we're talking about handful of guys we've drafted and then handful of guys we haven't even drafted. I could sit here and go on for hours about the people that battle over Penix being able to play right tackle where I projected him at the next level, and now he's the best right tackle in football. But people were just, he plays left tackle because they see the LT on PFF or Pro Football Reference, so they pigeonhole him there because they don't watch the film. They don't understand the position. When we're just trying to teach you, instead of pushing back on the people who do the work, who've put in the years, who've played the game, who understand the nuances, listen to what we're saying, then go watch the film for yourself. And if you don't agree with it, have a debate with us, but a film base. Don't come out here and get on your emotions, because people want to come out here and say Tua can't throw outside the numbers. Well, I can tell you this, heading into November, Tua was number 3 in the NFL in EPA outside the numbers. So what are you saying? He can't throw outside the numbers, right? And you don't even need an analytic. If you watch the film, I made the example earlier, right? In the Chiefs game, minus 29 mile per hour wind gusts because he's a touch throw behind the line of scrimmage. Ball was sailing and we weren't hitting those screens. But when you had him driving into the football to throw outside the numbers later in the game, what was happening? A couple balls sailed a little on him, but he was still making all the throws outside the numbers. Tua can make every throw on the football field. This shouldn't even be a discussion. He just led the league in passing. But the point of is, we've been more about the quarterback, and I hate how people have tried to pigeonhole us as just Tua, because we've been right about, so many things and so many players, whether it's been scheme, whether it's been draft fits or free agency fits. There's so many things. Us three have been down to telling people to be patient. Last year, BallGame telling everyone to be patient for the O-line to get their legs under them. Me this year, everyone bringing people off the ledge in my chat, give Fangio till week 8. Trust me, let him understand his personnel. This guy's been around. He'll get it down. But people just pigeonhole us to Tua when we're all about, we want the fans to be as educated as us. We tell you these things and show you these trends and explain these things so you guys can take it, do your own research and build off of that, and y'all can become more than casuals on a couch. That's the whole point of this. But people take it as, oh, they're telling us what it is, or yeah, we are, but we're also telling you it is this way, why it's this way, and go check for yourself. You'll see it's why this way.
100%. And it's just unfortunate, like in the community. And it's, again, this is just not people with platforms, but it's off platform as well. I've noticed, right? Again, people are so driven by their feelings, right? It just amazes me of some of the things that I hear. Because again, I'm not as active on the internet as I used to be, YouTube, as Twitter as well. But when I do get an opportunity to really, get on a platform or whatnot, the narratives, the misinformation, it is mind blowing. Like, again, like I told y'all, I was in a space the other day and we talked about the whole Lamar from a pure pocket, quarterback standpoint, right? I basically reiterated a lot of the points that we talked about tonight in that space, and the whole space went fucking bananas. And again, it was from their perspective, it was all, they were driven by their feelings, right? And I tell people, since 2019, since I debuted on TD Foolish Talk, right? What would I tell people all the time? Get out of your feelings, because it clouds your ability to properly evaluate. And it's just unfortunate that we're sitting here 4 years later, 2023, 2024, right? And people are still moving in the community that way, on platform and off. And it's just unfortunate, because and again, think about just the community, right? And I'm talking about people with platforms. People have a lot, they've been in their feelings, they've been completely driven by their feelings, and they've allowed, their feelings, their personal feelings to cloud, to really get in the way of interacting with other. Because again, I'm not trying to call names or anything like that, but there's been missed opportunities, I feel like, from a lot of these platforms because of personal issues. You know what I mean? It's like, and again, it's like everybody wants to be right. A lot of, for the most part, everybody wants credibility. They want to say, well, I can only speak for me. I'm not attempting to speak for you two gentlemen or other grown men. But again, y'all hear me all the time say, I'm just a fan that is, I feel blessed enough to where I've got, an opportunity to come up on this platform as well as others and just offer a different perspective about the team that I love, right? And we should all take that place. Nobody's trying to be the first and to be the most right. It just so happens that the three of us, right, just happen to been been pretty accurate. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that was never the intentions, bro. But it's unfortunately, this is what's driving other people with other platforms to be, well, I said this on this day. I told y'all this. I told y'all that. So it's just unfortunate, bro. There's missed up for personal egos and personal feelings. There's just a lot of missed opportunities for a lot of, educational, spirited, debates and engagements with platforms because of these ego-driven individuals. And it's just, and unfortunately, bro, it's the subscribers that suffer the most. You know what I mean? Yeah. So again, man, it's just what it is. But it's unfortunate that we have, this is where we are as a, community or whatnot. But I can't control what other people do. I can only control, what comes out of my mouth and how I conduct myself. And at the end of the day, man, that's never been our motivation. And we're just going to keep pushing. We're going to keep doing what we're doing, right? Being consistent, right? With everything that we said in the beginning that we wanted to kind of project and kind of, put out in the fan base. And we're going to keep it pushing at the end of the day.
Yep.
Time to fix it all, man. I think.
Anything you want to add, BallGame?
As long as we keep doing what we're doing. Yeah, man. I think as long as we keep doing what we're doing, the impact will be twofold and worth the effort and time put into this. Not at any point I have to salute you, man. You've become without a shadow, without the guy in the space, man. And I always knew it from day one when we first met. You know what I'm saying? Maybe push myself a little bit more to become comfortable in this space and come up here and be able to do this, because it's not easy, to get up here and, share yourself with the world. But at the same time, I appreciate all the effort you put into ensuring that people are being provided the truth about what's really going on and how things should be looked at, because that's important as well. Misinformation is a really big thing that's clogging up and holding our organization back and the fan base, because people just run with they run with narratives just because they don't really, most people are lazy, so they don't want to take the time to actually do the research to know and be informed. So they rely on you, and you do an amazing job of ensuring that they get the truth, right? Some people can't handle the truth. Some people don't accept it for what it is. That's crazy to me because I know what I share without when you put something out. You know what I'm saying? The research has been done behind it. It's not just something that you just pulling out of your ass or pulling out of the air. You know what I'm saying? You put the time and effort into making sure that it's accurate information because that's what we agreed that we were going to be doing and providing for people from day one. So I just want, the best for this organization, man. I want to see a Super Bowl, man, in my lifetime. And I was just born when we won the first one. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that don't really count. I mean, it was a good year. 72 was a good year, but at the same time, hell, I'd like to see one before I die. So, it is what it is.
Listen, I appreciate y'all, like another trip around the earth spent with y'all. I mean, we've known each other since 2019, so 5 years, man. It's kind of crazy how far we've come.
Crazy. I can remember the first, real quick. I can remember the first time. I remember the first time popping up on that stream with BallGame, and then Reason came a little later. I remember I was like, "Who is this dude? Who is this guy? This Canadian guy, right?" It was like, because it was me, I think, me, BallGame, Finn Sanity. It was somebody else too on the panel at that time when Reason popped up. And so Reason comes in, he was a little quiet at first or whatnot. And then me and BallGame was that particular stream. Me and BallGame was going at it tooth and nail, bro. Hey, going at it. I had to fight TD, BallGame, and Finn Sanity. So I get this dude from Canada. They were expecting him. So Reason, how you doing? Whatever. So what are your? I forget it even about the what we were debating about. And it just so happened Reason wind up and he sided with me. And it's been on ever since, goddammit. It's been on ever since. So, bro, but like I said, I remember that like it was yesterday. The 5 years, bro, it's just like it's like we blinked and the time has gone by. And think about it. We had to go through COVID together, bro. You know, all of us, not just the three of us, but the whole fan base for the most part. But we went through that whole experience when the whole world was shut down. It's just crazy, bro. Like,
now we might run into it again with the way it's going over.
Let's hope not, goddammit. But it has been a true pleasure to really, to know all of y'all.
Lines next. The next one will be streaming from the front lines of Iran or something like that, bro.
Hey, man, let's hope not.
Good nation, what's good? This is your boy Reason. We're on the front line of Iran right now. That's what it's gonna be, bro.
Hey, man, let's hope not. But it has been.
You gotta get Biden the fuck out of there, man.
But yeah, it's been a true pleasure to know all of y'all and really, develop the relationship over the years. And because I consider y'all, y'all are family in my estimation, and not just you two, but
family,
it's other people in the community. You know who you are, but man, it's just crazy. And just in 5 years, just how, especially me and Reason specifically, like our relationship has grown so much, right? He's not the only one, but our relationship is just grown because I talk to Reason like I talk to my own brothers. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes I even talk to him in a day. I might be revealing too much, Reason, but since it's your birthday, I'm trying to give you your flowers a little bit. So, it's like sometimes I talk to Reason more than I talk to my own brother. You know what I mean? My own family. You know what I mean? And it's just crazy. It's just mind blowing when you sit back and really look at things and over that period of time, how close we've all become. Me, BallGame. You know what I mean? More recently, Reason, Martins of the world, even a little more recently, CB83s of the world. You know what I mean? And it's other people if I'm forgetting, but I consider all of y'all family, man. It's just been a true pleasure to know all of y'all, each and every one of y'all, man. And I'm just looking forward to the next 5 at this point. So
hopefully have a Super Bowl by then.
I know, right? Hopefully one of these years we can really be celebrating, as we're hoisting that, the team is hoisting that Lombardi, but we'll see, but definitely looking forward to the next 5 years, man. And it's been like, again, I can't emphasize that much, and I can't overstate that. It's been a true pleasure to really know all of y'all, man.
Yes, sir.
I want to tell these people how many times you done had us in a situation when you was out here talking about motherfucker pull up. Pull up.
Yeah.
showing the blicky on air and stuff.
I don't
Get out of- Get out of the
me?
chat, Em.
Who,
Get out of the chat, man. Don't read the chat, Em. Stop reading the chat.
Who, me? Yeah.
Pull up.
Man, I tell you, it has been truly an experience, bro. It has been an experience.
Hell of a ride, bro.
I appreciate all y'all coming through. I appreciate all the happy birthdays, the texts, the tweets, the phone calls, the DMs, the chat messages. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming through and supporting. Do us the favor, smash the like button on the way out. Enjoy your Monday as we're into it. And listen, again, I thank these gentlemen up here, and I thank all of you for another trip around the sun. Hopefully this year is the most memorable one there is for all of us. Please, please, please.
That part.
Let's get a win. Let's at least win a playoff game. All right. So smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. And as always, you know what time it is. Fins up all day,
every day. Salute. Till next time, y'all be safe. Salute.
Indeed.
And fins up until Margaritaville sends a cease and desist our way. I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.
All right.
Huh.
No, we good?
Hold on. No.
Oh shit. My bad, bug. Yeah. I think we're